Show and Tell. Signature.
Welcome to Show and Tell Signature. This is just some of my favorite people talking about some of their favorite decks. Today,
Did you say people? You said people?
People, goblins.
Okay, just
all
making
sorts
sure.
of. Yeah, everyone's. This is an all-inclusive.
Okay, because if I have
show.
to leave, I'll leave. You know.
No, you must. I must insist you stick around. I'm joined by Hobbes Q, talking about his Rule Zero Partners deck.
Yes,
which
Rule
is
Zero.
Kind of my first Rule Zero deck here. Breeches, the Blastmaker, and Malcolm, the Eyes. So just kind of go over the two commanders. Breeches is a... Oh, wow, this alt art is interesting. Okay, it's a one generic...
You looking at the wanted poster art? Because that's
it's
the art.
a wanted poster art, yeah.
The wanted poster art is the art, yeah.
It's actually, you know what? I was not super sold on the wanted poster art, but these two actually look really good. So maybe I've come around. I think I tend to soften up on some of these alt arts.
Yeah, some
after
of
the
them.
fact.
There's a lot of them, right? And this was one that I enjoyed the treatment of. So.
Gotcha. Okay, so let's see. Breeches, the Blastmaker, is a one generic, a blue and a red, legendary creature, goblin, pirate. It's a 3/3 with menace. Whenever you cast your second spell each turn, you may sacrifice an artifact. If you do, flip a coin. When you win the flip, copy that spell. You may choose new targets for the copy. When you lose the flip, Breeches, the Blastmaker, deals damage equal to that spell's mana value to any target. So it's actually pretty cool. It's not even a downside if you lose the flip. It's just
Correct.
like an alternate kind of thing.
Yep. Yes, just two different effects, both of which, like in general, I want to copy spells, but, just doming somebody for even 5 or 6 is pretty cool on your second spell.
Yeah. And then we also have Malcolm the Eyes. It's just a blue and a red. Legendary creature, Siren Pirate. It's a 2/2. Flying haste. Whenever you cast your second spell each turn, investigate. So pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
Not the most broken Rule Zero partner combination in the world, which is also kind of nice.
Correct. I mean, here's the deal. They work... They Breeches and Malcolm have been, quote unquote, like in some way partners throughout Magic history, from them coming in Ixalan, the return to Ixalan. They're kind of they follow Vraska. They're very like loyal to her. They, I have the name of the deck has them as heterosexual life partners because their early versions had partner. And so their cards have always had synergy or played together. Yeah. Now they were in a main set here. They weren't in a commander deck. They weren't in a commander set. So they were in a main set here. And it was one of they weren't doing like commander decks where it had partner with them because they've moved away from a lot of partner. So it's kind of weird because again, their abilities are completely synergistic. And they're cool together, right? Like you said, it's not broken, but Malcolm makes, on your second spell, makes the clue token so that you then could sacrifice it with Breeches to be able to use the ability. So, like, they work together, and it makes sense for their abilities. It makes sense for the storyline. They are very flavorful in that way. They weren't given partner because it wouldn't work for a standard set.
Yeah, that makes sense. So let's see, Moxfield, which I will host this deck list, not sponsored, just a big fan of Moxfield, has this settled as a has it as a bracket 3, which let's see, it's got only one game changer. It's just Jessica's Will. For the type of deck, this kind of makes sense. Usually, if you're looking for one big kind of spell slinging turn, it's usually a very good enabler. And then 2 extra turn spells, Temporal Mastery. And Stitch in Time.
So it's kind of funny, right? Like they are 2 extra turn spells, but one is really meant to be played as a miracle, hopefully, right? Yeah. And so it's also it's just in there because I have a Calvin and Hobbes art altar on it, and I love the miracle idea of it, even though it's very like it's otherwise it's just an expensive extra turn spell, and it exiles itself. Stitch in Time is there because it is my favorite extra turn spell in Magic. So if people don't know, Stitch in Time is it's only 3 mana. Yeah. Red, blue, and 1. You flip a coin. If you win the flip, you get an extra turn.
Yeah. I remember pulling this is Guild Pact, right? I think that's the original. Yeah. I remember buying a box of Guild Pact when it came out and pulling this card and be like, man, this is actually pretty cool. I mean, a 50-50 shot for an extra turn for only 3 mana feels pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah.
So would you say, I mean, ranked as a bracket 3, would you say it plays as a bracket 3? Do you think it punches down, punches up, or what's your experience
It plays as a bracket 3, I would say. It could easily be made into, so the deck was originally Quark and Sakashima, and which is a CDH deck, and I have the CDH version of it. This is not that. But even when I tried to power down Quark and Sakashima, it's so easy to just explode and explode early. So with that, that's always been a consistent kind of 4. To move it further, and I've been kind of moving it. I wanted it in that bracket 3, really, even though it is a Spellslinger deck. I'm playing a lot of higher cost spells, so there's a lot of like the Niv Mizzets at 6, and there's combustible Gear Hulks, and there's things that cost a lot more that I think really slow the deck down enough that 3 feels right.
Yeah. So okay, what would you say is the overall core idea or the theme? Outside of just flavor reasons, like what is this deck trying to accomplish?
It's a Storm deck. I mean, I'm a Storm player at heart. I love playing Storm. I love the idea of one big turn. I love the idea of needing to just track mana, track number of spells, make things complicated and confusing for the whole table. I mean, this is a deck that I play with consent, right? People are well aware that it is a Spellslinger deck. It could easily do nothing for 7-8 turns. Its goal is to set up one big turn, and I think it's not hidden. It's telegraphed what I'm going to aim to do. There's ways to interrupt it, and it also can just be all of a sudden I cast somewhere between 40 spells and have like mana that's potentially infinite, if not like ridiculous. So
yeah. So just big Izzet stuff is really kind of what it looks like we're doing here.
Yeah, I'm trying to do that. I'm trying to win through just wheel effects and wheel the table and draw tons of cards, and everybody might get that. And then I'm hoping to have something like a Psychosis Crawler on the table. Things like Gutter Snipe, so that I'm doing damage as I'm casting my spells. It's not just about a single payoff, but doing things like damage and stuff all along the way.
Yes, yeah. So kind of almost like maybe a secondary group slug type.
Yeah.
Game plan, which is interesting because given the commanders, I wouldn't necessarily say they are. If you look at them, you're looking at them as a spell slinger deck. I guess with the second spell each turn.
The second spell each turn is like it's because sometimes you may just cast 2 spells on an opponent's turn as an instant and get something a bonus off of it. Or they can be used to set up to potentially get something like a second Gutter Snipe out early on in the game. So you can use them to kind of build some advantage as you're kind of building a board state. Because there is some of the creatures that would get the abilities to ping or do whatever when you cast a spell. And the fact that you get to double those potentially is a spell, since it's not just like double an instant or a sorcery, can let you have a kind of better board state. So they're really not as overpowered as most of like the other Izzet options, I would say.
Yeah. So what drew you to building a partner deck?
I love Breeches and Malcolm. So Breeches and Malcolm are 2 of my favorite characters in lore. Also, Breeches was a Goblin Lore podcast preview card. It is we had the opportunity that we got to preview a legendary goblin, which is something that we had been wanting to do for years. I mean, we are the Goblin cast. We I am a goblin around everywhere, and we were given the preview for Breeches. So that was kind of what set off initially. I love Breeches, saw Malcolm, wanted to build them together. Then I was fortunate enough to have the opportunity to purchase the original arts for the wanted posters. So we said the wanted posters. If you want to go see them, hopefully
I'll pop
that gentleman will have them up, and I'm going to send him copies of the art. So the arts are actually ink. The artist is so it's Michael Walsh. He did the art for Breeches, and I saw it pop up in the art group, and I saw that the inks, those were the finals. All the color that's like the watercolorish red and blues was added digitally after the art had been completed. So I have the completed for that. And while talking, I didn't realize this initially, that the wanted poster for Malcolm was also his, and he still had it available. So I was able to get both of these, and I have them to be framed still, but I have the original art for these. And so it's very special to me. Getting to do a Legendary Goblin as a preview card was something I've always wanted to do. it being one of my like favorites in terms of like a lore based. It wasn't the new goblin. It was a goblin that we knew, that we had a history with. His friendship with Malcolm, even previous to this storyline, is something that's been so important. We covered it on the cast. There's a lot of just really great moments of like their friendship, and so it was just kind of a no-brainer at that point.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of one of the beautiful parts of Commanders, and you can build these decks that aren't just like, well, here's just a blue-red Commander and buildings. Like, no, there's some story and there's some meaning behind the deck itself, which is pretty fun. Okay, so just some notes I wanted to kind of go over about the deck. First thing, 38 lands, very responsible mana base.
I am a responsible deck builder when it comes to mana. I do not skimp on it. This deck might be able to cut one or two, but I don't care. Like I would rather hit land drops, and I would rather not feel that I'm like, I really believe in like 36 to 40. I am in that.
So wild. I mean, it's probably the correct way to build decks, but anytime I hear like 40, outside of like a landfall deck at 40 lands, like, gosh, it feels like so many, but
it does. I also will tell everybody now, play more basics.
Yeah, that's probably a big part of it too. And really, I think the offsetting factor is more card draw, right? And your command, Malcolm gives you opportunity to make clues so you can crack and draw cards more to kind of filter through, hopefully faster than maybe flooding out a little bit.
Correct, yeah.
Some other just fun cards I kind of wanted to highlight. You said it's a Storm deck, and wouldn't be a Storm deck without 1,000-Year Storm. So for a blue and a red enchantment, whenever you cast an instant sorcery spell, copy it for each other instant and sorcery spell you've cast before. This turn, you may choose new targets for the copies. So this, if you play this in conjunction with a Storm card, gets wild, right? Because it basically would storm on storm. Is that
so?
Is that
the
correct?
storm ability would get more copies of it, but each storm copy wouldn't cause this to go off because it's all based off of casting.
Right. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it's the casting ability. A lot of these are like that. Then that's what people kind of like. Storm copies in general don't tend to like trigger a ton of stuff.
Got it.
Like you wouldn't get the extra gutter snipes. Like each storm copy wouldn't get a gutter snipe or things like that. But 1,000-Year Storm, it also just makes it for like the whole table to be like, what is going on? Like how many copies? Like I usually when I play this deck, I do my best to involve the entire pod if I have a big storm turn. Because I'm usually playing with friends that would be under, like, once again, this is a deck about consent to play it. And the people who I've played it against tend to be like, this is going to be wild. Let's see what I need to see this. So I usually have a table where somebody's keeping track of mana, somebody's doing storm count, people are helping me figure out how many copies of this are there. Because there's spell doublers, there's a ton of them, and then there's things like spell doublers on top of spell doublers, so that you're getting like, I've had times where I've got like 4 copies of every spell. Not with Storm, just 4 copies of like every spell to start with. Yeah,
that's pretty wild. I mean, we have, speaking of doublers, we have a bonus round, which I thought was kind of a cool card. Just 1 and 2 red. It's a sorcery until end of turn. Whenever a player, it's a sorcery speed, casts an instant or sorcery spell, that player copies it and may choose new targets for the copy.
It doubles every single spell for the rest of the turn, and that's just wild. Like your opponents can cast some stuff too.
Yeah.
But it is bonus round is one of my favorite, I think, like spellslinger cards that I don't always see people playing.
Yeah. Great way to kind of enable a big storm turn, right? Because you have stuff in here like where did it go? Mana Geyser, things to kind of get you the mana to.
When this comes out, if you highlight Mana Geyser, we are going to hear from like Fredo and Quinn. So at the cookout a couple of years ago, I played this deck with them, and the joke is Mana Geyser is just ridiculous. Mana Geyser just enables. Even more so. I mean, Jessica's Will, you'll get the extra spells as well, but Mana Geyser is literally a late game make 20 mana.
Yeah. Which, I mean, I feel like for this type of deck, it's really what you're trying to do. And also have, Galvanic Relay is one that stood out to me. 2 in a red. Exile the top card of your library. During your next turn, you may play that card. Sorcery, but Storm.
Yep.
So that's kind of one of those ones where you're, it's not play for free, but it's giving you,
access.
a lot of access, which I think is key. But just being able to play a bunch of, have access to a bunch of spells to cast to kind of go off is very important.
It's very great with something because you almost need to do like a mini storm turn to then prep for the next turn. And then something like Mizzix's Mastery will really let you just hopefully be able to go to town because your mini storm turn or your storm turn that you did, but maybe you couldn't win to the Galvanic Relay. Mizzix Mastery, if you have it, lets you with an overload cost then play for free every spell that's in your graveyard. Yeah. So you can basically then the next turn replay everything and play the stuff off of the Galvanic Relay.
Yeah, and it's the nice part again with Mizzix's Mastery. It's copy and cast, so it is cast. You do get cast triggers off of that, which is important. Which is very nice. Another card that I thought was super cool that I actually had never seen before was Spell Twine. 5 and a blue, exile target instant or sorcery card from your graveyard and target instant or sorcery card from an opponent's graveyard. Copy those cards, cast the copies if able without paying their mana cost, exile Spell Twine. So again, almost kind of like a mini pseudo Mizzix's Mastery, but you also can maybe cast the best instant or sorcery of your opponent's graveyard.
Yeah. Like sometimes I like cards like this because like it's 6 mana and it could be dead.
Yeah.
And when it's not, it just makes for great stories again.
It's like you might be casting an opponent's opt might be all you're getting out of their graveyard.
Sure.
But sometimes in a storm deck, it's all you want because this is also a cast trigger, correct? This is casting copies.
You cast them. Yep. You get everything.
That's storm count goes up. Number go up, right? That's kind of
that's the goal of the deck. Number go up. I will say the new Rowls make this a lot of fun. So the Flip Rowl and the Auto Rowl, those were 2 newer additions to the deck. I added those when we had an SCG con here in Minneapolis, and picked those up like right away because the Flip Rowl just is wild because when you flip it, it gets like counters based on the number of spells. You can like just basically you can like ultimate right away.
It's I mean if you're playing this deck correctly, it's pretty much an instant ultimate off of that Row, and exile the top 8 cards of your library. You may cast instant or sorcery spells without paying their mana cost. So that's if you're not winning off of that, you're doing something wrong. But
correct, right? Like if you're not, that's fine. I lost, but you know what? I went out on my own terms.
Yeah. And then just one other card I really liked because I'm a Lord of the Rings nerd is Glamdring just in the deck, which is kind of cool.
So that was an addition in the last like year but that's when more recent because of Pendragon. So I built Pendragon is the format where you have a common creature that you get to equip with a legendary sword, basically your version of Excalibur. And Glamdring is I built not to the shock of nobody, I built a Goblin Electromancer Pendragon that is a Pauper, because that's Pauper Storm deck. And Glamdring is ridiculous. I mean, Glamdring means that you can, on this turn that you may be doing your storm turn, you could very potentially just also swing a flyer at one of your opponents for lethal.
Yeah, pretty wild. So cool. All right, let's go over to the one.
The one.
All right, so you chose for this deck your one as Ignite Memories, which I have to say is probably one of the best arts I have seen on a Magic card, maybe ever.
The art is so good. The art is fantastic and superb.
Yeah. Again, another Storm card. Target player reveals a card at random from his or her hand. Ignite Memories deals damage to that player equal to that card's converted mana cost. For 4 red. So why is this your one for this?
Why is this the one? This card is ridiculous. Ignite Memories. There's actually there's a very famous story from the Pro Tour where there was like two competing Ignite Memories, and somebody survived basically their opponents not revealing anything that was of value, and then them being able to do it on the next turn and killing their opponent. This card is fantastic because it mixes that love of chaos that I have, because at the end of the day, I don't want easy mode. I do want to win. I do want to storm off. I do want to like try to kill people. I have lots of ways to do it. Something like a psychosis crawler. But ignite memory is a storm payoff where you get like 30 or 40 copies of this. And I'm doing things like wheeling to try to at that point I want some spells in my opponent's hand. Like if your opponents have no cards in their hand, this card, you're like dead again. But you got like, so like it just makes for very fun moments of like even with a ton of copies, somebody could survive this. And Ignite Memories has always just been one of my favorite storm payoff cards that's not the traditional maybe like a Brain Freeze or a Tendrils or like the more classic ones. I love Ignite Memories. I will that is the card that will not get cut from this deck.
That's awesome. And just lastly, any memorable moments you have with this deck, and does this kind of reflect your normal play style?
I think most people would agree that it reflects my normal play style. I'm not really a competitive player. I did do some GPs in the past, back when I was younger, like 10, 15 years ago. I actually day 2'd one GP, one of the Vegas Legacy events. It was one of the biggest ever, and I went 7-2 day 1 playing Storm, and I was able to like. It was a great deck for me because I didn't have a lot of ways to train or to practice other than playing like online or sitting at home, and I can Goldfish Storm. So I can I love Storm lines. I love trying to figure out Storm lines. I love the one big turn. And so this deck is set up for that. And a memorable moment, I actually played this with one of my co-hosts, with Bluesky, who's a local here in Minnesota, and then Bugs Matrix. We were playing at the SEG Con here in Minneapolis, and once again, we were playing against 5-color Enchantress from Bluesky. Like, I don't remember exactly what Alex playing. Bugs is playing a ridiculous deck because her decks are amazing. And I saw that, so I had out Leyline of Anticipation, so I was able to cast my spells on anybody's turn, which is also really fun in the Storm deck because your opponent's spells do count towards Storm count. And so if your opponents play even a couple of spells, you can up your Storm count and technically go off on your opponent's turn. So that's what I did. My opponent cast, my co-host Alex cast a couple of spells, and I just was like, okay, let's pause here a second. And I just went off. I just stormed out completely. Because my opponents, he had played a couple of spells. My opponents were all like fairly tapped down. So it was like, Mana Geyser, we're going. As I said, that spell, it will always, almost every story involving this deck probably says the word Mana Geyser itself. I'll be honest. But what was fun about this was I couldn't target Bugs. Bugs had protection to not be targeted. So because I had taken, I think she had one where you could add counters to your creature, but then you can't like target until the next turn. So I couldn't target Bugs because I did not realize I was going to storm off. So I took the deal. So couldn't target Bugs. So I have a few ways to win through that. And I was struggling to I was digging my entire deck, still couldn't find a way. I basically needed Psychosis Crawler because it would deal damage to every opponent, or I needed those sorts of things. Didn't hit it. But my opponent, that's the 5-color Enchantress player, is playing Teferi's Protection.
Yeah.
I was able to basically, with Teferi's Protection on the stack, play out more spells to hit like one of only 2 or 3 counter spells. I don't play a ton of them in this deck. I think it's the Swan Song. I think that Swan Song is what I had, and I like was drawing to that to be able to counter a Teferi's Protection, since I then wouldn't be able to kill that opponent. So killed 2 players, and then set up a Galvanic Relay where all I had to do was not have Bugs kill me on my turn. I had to just get back to my turn. I had a Galvanic Relay, and I had the Mythic Mastery like ready to go. I mean, it was basically just, I killed 2 people during an opponent's turn, and then just sat and was like, okay, if I die, I die. If you have some line to kill me, I'm dead. If not, so I just love that idea. Like, okay, you got it. You got one chance. I'm giving it to you. Am I really giving it to you? Probably not. I probably like there was a very low probability. I don't think I was in danger. However, can't say I didn't give you a chance.
Yeah. That's awesome. Well, Hobbes, thank you so much for sitting down with me talking about your Malcolm and Breeches Rule Zero partner deck.
Heterosexual life partner.
Heterosexual life partners. You can find this on the Show and Tell signature Moxfield list. Not sponsored, but Moxfield is just a great site to host decks and deck ideas and find new deck ideas. I use it all the time. And I'll link all Hobbes' stuff below. And if you have enjoyed these episodes, feel free to hit like and subscribe, and we'll catch you next time.